when I was doing this project, I wasn't too sure whether I want to present on a Hackware because it's actually very raw, right? As you can see, it's still PVC pipes and here and some plastic bottles here and there. But nevertheless, I will just share a bit about some of the projects that me and my team have been working on. It's called Atlantis, is the name of the big project. And part of Atlantis, we are hacking essentially two things: floating gardens and riverbots, right? And so we are a team of engineer scientists striving to restore rivers using unmanned surface cleaning robots over here and biotreatment floating gardens over here, right? So what keeps us awake other than social media and coffee, right? So it's actually one video which was passed to me by a friend, and I was actually very, very shocked and terrified that it's this bad, right? I've been to Indonesia, I've been to like other parts of ASEAN, but when I saw this, to me was a bit too much. Yeah, and when I saw that, I felt that, you know, I want to figure out what to do with it. And this is one of the things that I discovered, that, you know, as we urbanize very fast, industries, they race, right, to meet the needs of like textiles, our goods and services, and some of them actually pollute our air, land, and even waters, sometimes illegally. Yeah, and so rivers and waterways have become convenient dumping ground, as you can see in this photo. So these folks used to be fishermen, right? And what happens in this particular river called the Citarum River, it was there was a documentary by not just Channel News Asia, even Al Jazeera, and this was what they showcased, right? So previously these were fishermen, and instead of collecting fish, now they are collecting trash, right? Plastic trash. Right, and over here, actually you can't see the color over here, it's actually red in color. And the rice fields, right, they actually grow in the Citarum region, feeds, if I'm not wrong, 20% of Indonesia. So basically the rice that you grow from here with all the compounds, the toxic compounds that gets absorbed, gets exported to different parts of Indonesia. And a French scientist recently did a study and analyzed the particular rice that consuming it in a certain to a certain amount, to a certain level, it will actually affect the mental development of a particular child, right? So that is a thing that we also learned, right? So how are we going to solve this? So based on our research, we discovered that you can solve it in two ways. So you have the chemical compounds in the river. So we're going to use nature. We're going to use floating gardens, right? Because there are certain plants that like to absorb these kind of toxic compounds, right? And then we also use robots, right? So basically, we want to use unmanned water vehicles to collect waste. Yeah. So four of us, we came together. So different. We didn't mean it to be CMIO, right? But apparently, it kind of like ended up like that, right? And we have people from like who does drones. So Amir over there does drones, and then there's Rishi over there who used to be in URA. Right, and then decided to leave the industry, the government service to be part of the group. And then there's Eugene, right, who's currently now at General Assembly to find more talents for the team. And there's me here, also finding more talents and getting help, right? Yeah, so that's four of us, right? We focus on different things. Yeah, so when we come at Atlantis, it's an ecosystem because it's a very big problem. We feel that it needs to be working in a integrated manner. So we have a cobot or a riverbot over here to handle the plastic waste, and then we have some idea like maybe we can make it fun. We make it into like a mobile app game, right, where people can actually steer this thing, and then you help clean the trash also lah. Yeah, and then there's third one is basically our floating garden system to put all the plants that can absorb these chemicals. So these plants usually like to grow on the banks of the plants. But what if you can float it? You can actually have the whole river as your surface to absorb these chemicals. Right? And last but not least, how do they communicate with each other? We create something called the river net. Yeah. So the science is basically this, right? So there are certain plants that really like lead. Some plants will really like mercury. Some plants that really like copper, and they will absorb it into their plants, and they will grow very healthily. Right? So these are different kind of plants, and if you see over here the cattail, right, the Typha domingensis, right, they like to suck it through their roots. Yeah, so they like. Yeah. So this was our experiments, and what we did was we very raw, so we just get water bottles like this, and then we just put them together in a nice square, and then we wrap it with some like interesting like geotextile or certain materials, and then we let it float. Yeah, so and then we start to put some soil, and then over here you can see us putting some plants. And recently, because the weather has been very dry, so some of the farmers kind of like passed us some of their dried vegetables, and we put it on the chinampa, and a few days later, it actually grows pretty well. Yeah, so that was one. And with this simple solution, we were quite surprised that we were given the International Gold Award in Taipei in 2017. Yeah, but I felt that I think we can go smarter lah, right? Beyond just this floating thing. We felt that maybe we can put some IoT. So that's what we did. So we got some particle argon, right? So this is basically it's a bit like Arduino for those who are a bit more familiar with embedded system microcontrollers. And then we got some sensors lah. So there's pH sensor, turbidity sensor, temperature sensor. And where can we get this? We get this around 12 gigs. Yes. Yeah, and so I don't know. So I have problems getting my code to run, right? So sometimes I thought I just can copy paste from Arduino directly. No, it doesn't work like that because some of the syntax needs to be changed, right, for the particle system. And Fazli actually make the journey, right, to meet me and really guide me through. So not many stores that sell components will sit you and really give you advice. Yeah. So I WhatsApp him also. I WhatsApp him. He also responded. Yeah. So that was very helpful. Yeah. So basically, including libraries is something also quite different from Arduino. So over here, when you play around with this particle.io system, the library is over here. So when you click, this thing will appear. And basically, for the temperature sensor, we use the one-wire library. So we included it, right? And then we just use the project. So we use the one-wire the one-wire project, right? Yeah, so then basically, this is what we did. We assembled it. So the top part is the assembly for the pH sensor, the code for the pH sensor. The bottom one is for the temperature sensor. Yeah, so basically we also make it like waterproof because it's going to be on the river. So we have this thing. So we squeeze as many things into this small device. Yeah, so if I go inside the MRT, right, then if the uncle see this, I think he may think that it's something else. Yeah, especially when they ask my name, Muhammad Ibnur. Yeah, so this is how we set up how we make it communicate with the web. So we have something called the webhook, right? So that's how Particle communicates with ThinkSpeak, which is a dashboard system, right? So we insert the pH value. This is an event name. So basically in the code, right, you need to put this thing called pH value. So the moment when it prints out pH value, ThinkSpeak will actually capture that as an event. So when you capture the event, right, so there's the API key, you have to include everything. After you set it up, everything. Okay, I'll change it. Then what happens is you're gonna put, you'll get the different dashboards over here, temperature and what do you call this? The pH sensor. Yeah, so you can see over here, right? So this exactly what it's reading now. So now we know temperature is around 21.7 degrees Celsius, right? And then over here, so basically what we'll be hacking at a place called Ground Up Initiative and Guild, and basically it's an eco village lah. So this is us working hard. And then the next part is actually the robot part, which Amir will cover.
Hi, I'm Amir. I'll just cover this for a while. Basically, you can see the... Okay.
There you go.
So you can see that the robot is made from raw products already out in the market anywhere. You can buy it from a shop, DIY. So we use some of the PVC pipes to make the skeleton of the thing, just to get a rough one. We get baskets from Daiso. So the idea of it is to have a conveyor belt. And then this thing will go on water surface. And then it will collect some stuff, so the conveyor belt will have a turnaround. We have a video of it, but we'll show later. So how we used it is we used stepper motors right on top over here, and then we used like the toy tracks from the tank, and then it will turn around. So it works beautifully for the first time. We were looking into making it better. Second is the flotation part. We use plastic bottles to make it float, and we use toy boats at the back just to make it propel. So we hacked into the two toy boats and to use the motors and also the waterproofing, which is one of the hard parts in making the to secure the motor and not letting water go in. So how we used it was there's 2 motors on each boat. We broke it up, just took the motors that were inside over here, and then we got a motor driver to run the 2 motors, and voila, we get the left and the right motors. So if you want to turn left, you turn the right motor, and then you want to turn left, turn right, you turn the left motor on. And we use the Raspberry Pi microcontroller because it has the Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi stuff on it. Then we can control using SSH. So we use a personal hotspot just for it, and then we use SSH to type in some lines of codes. But Rishi over here, he made a simple GUI, and because the end goal of it is we're trying to make an app, so we just experimenting with some simple GUI. And Rishi, you want to try something from your phone? Sorry?
Put it back.
All right.
You know it will damage the table.
Okay. So the idea is to like have remote control capability, but have it turn around. So he's using it from his phone to control it, to move left and right. Okay. Yep. Okay. This is the video that we did. This was prior to the GUI that we made, and then we just used lines of codes. And then this is actually, we tried it at GUI. We got a space, and then we tried to simulate some picking up from rubbish. Yeah. Thank you. And it works for now. It can collect all the weed or the seaweed on top. So maybe you could use it as like moss cleaning from the river or something. So moving forward, we have the GUI from Rishi. We want to make a game. We don't really have much experience. We're looking into it, and we're open to recommendations. Yeah, that's it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
If anyone has any oh, okay. No problem. You can talk to us after this.